Come closer, settle in by the fire. We're diving right in today because we are unpacking a story from a time way, way before kingdoms were ever carved into the earth. Honestly, before we even knew how to name the stars. We're doing an explainer today on the ultimate, fragile balance of the universe itself, the crown of two realms and the rise of the eclipsed sovereign. So get comfortable and let's explore this incredible legend together.
Picture this. Thousands of years after the literal dawn of time, buried deep beneath the crumbling ruins of some forgotten temple, a prophecy was just waiting. The ancient scrolls spoke of a mortal who would carry both the flame of creation and the heart of the abyss. Now, I want you to really think about that for a second. If a mortal were suddenly handed the infinite power to create alongside the absolute void of destruction, what happens? Do they trigger the end of all existence, or do they become our greatest protector?
To really get this prophecy, we got to understand the universe back then. It was ruled by two primordial forces. On one side, you've got Etherion, the eternal flame of creation. This is the stuff that birthed galaxies, life, hope, the whole shebang. On the flip side, there's Nocturos, the infinite abyss, shadows, silence, stillness. Now, the old wisdom tells us these weren't good or evil, not at all. They were just essential opposites. Nocturos only existed to bring things back to rest, and for ages they held this perfect, if incredibly fragile balance. Neither tried to wipe out the other because, well, you literally can't have one without the other.
But, as we all know, balance is tricky. It breaks. The timeline of this fable is actually pretty tragic. We go from that perfectly balanced primordial era straight into the star alignment, which is when the prophecy finally wakes up. That awakening throws the whole cosmos into the Thousand-Year War, a dark time of a divided soul. And of course, all that chaos acts like a beacon, drawing in this apocalyptic nightmare called the Devourer. Let's look at exactly how things went off the rails.
It all started on this one fateful night. 7 stars lined up in the sky, forming a perfect circle. And this young mortal guy, he unknowingly wanders into that forgotten sanctuary and just steps on the ancient seal. Instantly, the ground shakes. Runes left by celestial beings start glowing all over the stone floor. Lightning rips through the sky. These dark, crimson shadows rise out of the dirt like living snakes, wrapping around his arms, but weirdly, it didn't hurt him. At the exact same time, golden flames drop from the stars and wrap him in this warm light. But man, the toll it took, his body basically became ground zero for these two infinite powers. The agony must have been unimaginable. Every single memory, every fear, every dream he ever had was just painfully stripped away while he stood there, frozen, caught between light and dark for what probably felt like centuries.
When the roaring winds finally stopped and that blinding light faded out, the mortal slowly opened his eyes. But he wasn't really a man anymore. One eye burned with the deep crimson glow of the abyss, the other shimmered with the golden light of creation. And in that eerie, dead-quiet aftermath, the heavens literally parted. A celestial crown floated down from above. It was actually a relic from the very last guardian who kept the balance way back before the ancient war.
Now, the whole secret of this crown comes down to one single tragic number: 2. The second that celestial crown touched the young man's head, the sheer, unimaginable force of it instantly split his soul right down the middle. He was no longer one person. The crown turned him into 2 totally distinct, living manifestations. He was completely fractured.
So look at what this shattered soul becomes. On one side, you have the Shadow King. Imagine flowing crimson robes made of literal, living darkness. Black tendrils radiating off him, carrying forgotten spells that could swallow entire armies whole. His mere presence dimmed the stars. He was all about absolute control, power without mercy. To him, emotion was just a weakness. Then, on the other side, you have the Ascended Warrior. This guy had lightning surging through his veins. Glowing spheres of pure cosmic fire floated around him like tiny little universes. He was driven by compassion, courage, the absolute need to protect. He believed compassion was ultimate strength. Same soul originally, but now, these two beings absolutely loathed each other.
And because of that hatred, the whole universe bled. For 1,000 years, the Shadow King and the Ascended Warrior fought across countless dimensions. The devastation it's just beyond human comprehension. Their clashes literally shattered moons. They split mountains in half. They whipped up storms that swallowed whole oceans. The gods?
They just sat there, watching in stunned silence. The demons were actually terrified. And down here on Earth, humanity had zero clue what was really going on. We just sat around fires making up stories about those violent, mysterious lights crashing across the night sky.
But here's the thing. The noise of that endless war, it echoed way too far into the deep dark of the universe. It woke something up, a terror called the Devourer of Eternity. This was an ancient force that operated completely outside the rules of light and dark. Unlike Etherion and Nocturios, it didn't care about balance, and unlike the Shadow King, it didn't care about conquering anything. It only wanted one thing: absolute, perfect nothingness. Wherever this devourer went, stars just blinked out of existence. Entire civilizations vanished into thin air, not even a speck of dust left behind. Time itself started to cave in.
So the gods are doing the math, and it is grim. Neither creation nor destruction on its own could stop this thing. The Shadow King, he finally realizes his dream of endless domination is completely pointless, because the Devourer is going to leave him with literally nothing to rule. And the Ascended Warrior realizes his hope and compassion can't fight a literal black hole of annihilation. Half measures were never going to cut it. Only perfect, 100% unity could actually save existence.
And that leads us to the most breathtaking moment in this entire myth. Standing face to face, right beneath the shadow of an endless eclipse, these two bitter rivals finally stop. They lower their weapons. For the very first time since their soul was ripped apart, they looked at each other not as enemies, but as halves of the exact same whole. They reached out, and their souls began to merge back together. Witnessing that reunion must have been like watching existence itself being reborn. Darkness wrapped right around divine light, but it didn't put it out. Golden flames sparked up from deep inside those crimson shadows. Blinding lightning started dancing through the pitch-black tendrils. Actual galaxies began swirling underneath armor that was forged from both celestial energy and the darkest abyss. In that one majestic moment, the universe got its greatest guardian, the true Eclipse Sovereign. He takes one step and shattered worlds start healing, takes one breath and dead stars reignite. But the Devourer? It didn't care. It unleashed a massive wave of pure nothingness, meant to consume everything. But the Eclipse Sovereign hit back with an attack of just unimaginable scale. His shadow tendrils morphed into dragons of living night. His celestial flames turned into roaring rivers of stars. All those glowing orbs merged into one blinding sphere of perfect, terrifying harmony. Creation and destruction locked together. He throws his hand forward, the sphere explodes, and the beam literally pierces reality. The heavens cracked.
The impact was so intense that time itself just stopped. Caught in that blinding light of absolute unity, the Devourer screamed. It just couldn't comprehend balance. Right there, in front of the silent gods, this apocalyptic nightmare simply dissolved. It broke apart into countless little fragments of fading darkness.
And then, silence. The roaring cosmic winds finally settled down. The fragile balance of the universe was saved. Not because the light beat the dark, but because the two finally found harmony.
Now you'd probably think that after saving all of existence, the Sovereign would step up and demand to be in charge, right? I mean, the gods literally offered him the divine throne, ultimate cosmic rule. But what does he do? He shows profound humility. He turns it down. Actually, scratch that. He didn't just turn it down. He chose to go right back to those forgotten ruins where his whole agonizing journey started. He chose to just be a silent guardian, standing watch over countless worlds from the shadows, forever wearing the crown of two realms.
Even today, ancient travelers sometimes whisper that they've seen him, a crowned warrior standing quietly out there beneath the stars, wrapped in crimson tendrils and floating cosmic orbs, one eye shining red, the other gold. Some folks will tell you he's just a myth, just a story to teach us about balance. But the village elders? We know that whenever the balance between light and darkness is truly threatened, that ancient temple begins to glow again. So, I'll leave you with this to ponder as our fire fades. Is the Eclipse Sovereign really just a legend? Or is the crown of two realms out there in the cosmos right now, waiting for the next soul strong enough to balance both the light and the dark within themselves?